Hello, I'm Chirishri from India, and I am going to talk about how psychological disorders are linked to the twin flame journey, and how often the divine masculines, the divine feminines undergoing the phases of twin flame often go through rifts of questions regarding their sanity, regarding their mental health, regarding their objective, regarding their perspective, and are often regarded to as mad. Yeah, that's a much more of a common sight that we see as we proceed in the journey. A lot of times during the spiritual awakening, we feel like we're losing our sanity, nothing is making sense, we are like completely losing our sanity, we do not understand where the paranoia is coming from. And because we read too much, we often tend to link paranoia to schizophrenia, paranoia to hallucinations, and a lot more. So, let us begin with the very concept of heart call trigger. So, if we look back in our childhood, a child is born, the right brain, the right hemisphere of the brain, which deals with the creativity, it is stronger in a child, as we all know. The child is born, the child is lost amidst creativity, the child is constantly thinking of creative endeavors, imagining things. As the child is watching different kind of shows on television, the child starts to restore those thoughts and think about it. In many cases, like mostly in our generation, most children are single children. So for single children, when they do not have other people to talk to, when they do not have really their parents to talk to, if they are working, they tend to have imaginary friends created. They tend to start talking to their mirror reflection or imaginary soul self, or create an imaginary friend who they give names, talk, or try interacting with some doll, and the process goes on. As a child, I used to feel that I have an imaginary friend, and I literally used to interact with my imaginary friend, talk about even TV shows with my imaginary friend, even go on repressing my thoughts in a way, because it wouldn't have been possible for me to tell anybody about it, because people would strictly take me to a psychiatrist. So obviously I never opened up to people about it. I never revealed that I have an imaginary friend who I talk to, but there was always a sort of connection. Whenever I was upset or something or the other went wrong, I used to have a habit of talking to this imaginary friend, and it used to feel like an inner voice, which is the voice of the imaginary friend, used to give answers to me, used to really help me. And as I grew up, I still held back the imaginary friend in my mind, but according to my age, my thought process changed, my topics of discussion changed, and eventually I started to lose contact with my imaginary friend. But there have been instances like when I was 14 years old. I remember an instance, I was really upset, and I used to call that imaginary friend Telly, and I told Telly that I know you would come one day and take me away. It continued, the pull of the imaginary friend continued, and a lot of times I used to feel ghosted. In other words, I have sensed paranormal activities happening around, and I used to sense as if there are spirits around. And as a matter of fact, many other divine feminine and divine masculine friends of mine have told me about similar experiences that they have undergone. So I was really relieved when I came across divine feminine and masculine friends undergoing the twin flame journey. When I started to know about the twin flame journey, come to the knowledge of twin flame journey, I came to know a lot of people were already aware that these kind of pulls, these kind of sensations, this kind of feeling that you're being watched, this kind of feeling that there is somebody calling you, this kind of feeling that you're being hosted, is apparently your twin flame hovering you. I was not someone who would ready to buy that. I wouldn't be ready to buy it at all. I was like, how is it possible? Eventually, as I started to talk to my twin, as I got into my journey, as my journey headed, I eventually, after interacting with my twin, I came to the conclusion or understanding. And just today morning, I was discussing this with my twin, that schizophrenia or psychological disorders, these are often termed in situations when a person gets paranoid. I personally got paranoid by being hosted by an inner voice which was supposedly calling me instincts. A lot of us, we are not aware. Spiritual knowledge over the world is low. Very less people are aware of spirituality. Very less people are aware in depth of what really the spiritual call is, or the inner call is, or the inner voice's call is. Considering the concept of twin flames, it is your soul which is embedded in your body. So technically speaking, it is only your twin who can complete you, complete your soul completely. So more than you need your twin, your soul, more than your ego needs your twin, it is your soul which is in dearth need of your twin, in excess of need of your twin. So your ego your soul keeps hovering for it. I personally who have been very ambitious about my life, and I've always been a person who's been searching for her life purpose. I have been somebody who's like always been hopeful about what is it that I'll be doing in my life. There is something special stored for me in this world, and there is some purpose I need to follow. There is something special I have, and I'll be doing. And I always had this thought in my mind, and it was much later I came to know I'm a psychic and I have tarot reading power, and I had no idea initially. So considering the fact of when we are ambitious, when we are constantly being hovered with search of ourselves, search of our own soul, search of the ambition of our soul, we tend to just get mitigated from the idea that the one who's embedded in our body. We often hear quotes like one soul embodied in two bodies, but we don't really take it to our heart, we don't really take it seriously. But once we come in contact with our twin flame, and once we meet them, then the trigger begins, because we have seen the person in third dimension reality. So we somewhere get an assurance of a sort of connection with that person. But there are a lot of people who deal with the twin flame journey without even meeting their twin flames. What I have come to a conclusion is that we don't really, because of less awareness, people don't really get to know what a twin flame is, what a call of your soul is, how your soul, your other half of the soul, can really call you. As a matter of fact, people get scared in midst of illusions when there are so many versions of the same thing available. They really get paranoid and they tend to run for psychological help. And the most common trait is schizophrenia, which is often linked with these thoughts of hallucinations and everything. And they tend to get scared, paranoid, and they actually start holding back, and they get lost in their own world. They get lost in a circle and in a loop, and they just get consecrated in the loop, just thinking that what might be really going on in their life, but it doesn't make sense to them. but it's actually a call of your heart. Like, some people really take it seriously that there is a person inside of me who is the one for me, who I can talk to. And that is how it begins for one of the, it's mostly the divine masculines who start weaving the game. So they start manifesting their thoughts, they start chasing the inner soul self of theirs in dreams, in thoughts, in astral, in a lot more ways. Whereas the divine feminine just starts getting scared, like, what is going on? I'm getting paranoid. What is this? I don't understand what is going on there. And they start running. As a matter of fact, they get attracted to the concept of love, the divine feminine, and start searching for love in the third dimensional reality. The divine masculine really gets mad because at this point the divine feminine has lost contact with the inner soul self voice they always had been talking to all their life. So they start to think that, okay, this might be the one for me, and start giving that love to love. They start loving love. As a matter of fact, the divine masculine keeps manifesting. As a result, finally the divine feminine comes to realization that no, this is not the one. Then the search continues. This is the reason often the one of the twin flames have a lot of partners, because they go on searching for the one, and finally, because of the search, they get triggered and pulled towards the divine masculine, who is the awakened one, or actually who is the awakened one. And once the divine feminine reaches the divine masculine, she gets scared, like, what did just happen? Like, who is this person? They are still not aware that the trigger was for this person. It takes them quite a while to understand, because they have really been hurt in love already, in the process of loving love. Meanwhile, the divine masculine, who is more shrewd and more aware of the situation, they go mad. They are like, oh wow, she's ignoring me, she does not get it, I'll also ignore her now I'll show her how it hurts. And that is the reason they start avoiding us in third dimensional reality, whereas they are available with all their energy in 5-dimensional reality. Once that begins, and once our love begins for our divine masculine, the 3D and the 5D collide, we are being in excess triggered, because it is our own soul which is triggering us. We run, we just chase the divine masculine, because there is an excess of energy that is growing in us, and there is a crazy instinctual connection, excess of pull towards the divine masculine, and we don't understand what is even going on. And the divine masculine enjoys the situation by avoiding us in 3D, when we are like running, chasing the divine masculine, both in 5D and 3D. And the masculine smartly weaves the game in 5D, while we are like lost. We don't understand why he's even avoiding us. And eventually we come across the twin flame terminology some way or the other. It just props up for all. We come to know the twin flame terminology, we get to know what twin flame is, we come in contact with the understanding of the concept, then purging begins, surrender begins, dissolution begins, everything continues till the divine masculine and the divine feminine finally accepts to each other about the entire hidden concept. They completely don't initially, but we eventually have to understand it. But I am shocked that no channel has ever talked about this part of the journey. This is a very strange thing for me, that I haven't come across a channel talking about it, but this is one of the rarest things which nobody has talked about, and I thought that it is one of the most important sites I had to bring forth for helping my fellow divine feminine and masculines to ascend towards their journey. So if you know he's your twin flame, don't chase, it's a game. Thank you.